वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा।
Intention drives energy. Let us create within ourselves the intention to attain the highest possible level of expertise in whatever we aspire to do. And may Lord Ganesha remove all obstacles in our way to achieving it. Whenever I talk about obstacles, I am reminded of the Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna that we are kept from our objectives and our goals not by obstacles, but by a clearer path to a lesser goal. We are capable of achieving the highest possible level of expertise, but unfortunately, when we have a clear path to a lesser goal, we are enamored of it and we move in that direction, ignoring the best that is possible. Friends, let us not do that. Let us all aspire to be the best possible edition of what we can be. Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, and so many more, mythologies, stories, fables. All these remind us that the very concept of the creation of earth was a story. Storytelling goes back to the beginning of time itself, when the Big Bang theory was explained to us, how life started. And from there, we have been enamored by stories, we have been taught by stories on the lap of our grandparents, by our teachers, by our mentors. Throughout, we have been taught about stories. Not only that, recent medical science has found out that the mind thinks in stories. That is the science behind storytelling, which we are going to discuss. There is so much of research now, and storytelling has been found to be so important in life that even business schools have started adopting stories as a part of their curriculum. Here you can see that Harvard Business School has got in its course storytelling, how to use data to tell a story. Business schools have adopted storytelling. Business storytelling is a big business today. And what is more, big companies, Fortune 500 companies, the top companies in the world have many positions in their company for storytellers. Here you can see Jordan Kelly, the content director. Can everyone kindly mute, please? There is a lot of background noise. Here you can see Jordan Kelly, who is a content director for Procter & Gamble. And he has written an article on November 16, 2021, where he talks about how Procter & Gamble sets the corporate standard with purpose-driven storytelling. Storytelling has come to assume a prime place in our life, career, and our relationship. There are 3 dimensions to storytelling. To be a powerful and impactful storyteller, you need to know all the 3 dimensions. The first dimension, of which we are going to speak today, is the science behind storytelling. What is the science behind storytelling? Why is storytelling so impactful? What does cognitive science has to say about storytelling and how the brain works, due to which stories come and stick to it? The second part is, how do you build a story? Everything cannot become a story. Even though people do try to make everything into a story, it falls flat on the face. And the third is how to effectively tell a story. Telling a story is a very, very tricky thing. It is not at all easy. It is very difficult. That is why some people tell a story very easily, while others find it very difficult, even though on a daily basis, we are constantly telling stories, not just to others, but even to ourselves. Friends, how many of you know how to work through the breakout room on the Zoom platform? Is there anyone here who has some difficulty in it? Or everyone knows how to work through breakout rooms? Can anyone answer? If anyone is having a difficulty, please tell me. I'll explain how to work through the breakout room. Because I'm going to give you an activity now. I'm going to divide the 84 people who are here into 6 teams. And you are going to go and do an activity and understand storytelling. Are you all aware how to work through breakout rooms? When I open the breakout room, you will get an intimation on your screen to join. You will get an intimation on the screen to join, and you are requested to go into the breakout room, discuss among yourself, and come up with the answer. Okay? Now, let me get back to the screen. Can you see the picture here? It is of a fist. Now, will you all kindly hold up your fist like this, exactly the way this person is holding it, and show me on the screen? Can I see it? Can you see you holding it? Yes, hold it very tight. Yes, Sheikh Sam, hold it very tight. Yes, Mr. Almugam. Is it very tight? Stiff? Now release it. Okay. The breakout room activity is very simple. You are holding your fist very tight. Then you lift it. Now, all I want you to do is, there are 89 people now, I'm going to divide it into 6 rooms. Go into the breakout room, discuss among yourself, how is this activity that you have seen and felt and experienced, holding a fist and leaving it, how is it akin to storytelling? What is the relationship between this and storytelling? Is it okay? I'm dividing you into breakout rooms. I'm dividing you into 6 breakout rooms. I've opened the 6 breakout rooms. Kindly accept the breakout rooms. Go and join the breakout rooms. And then there you will discuss. This will be for 20 minutes. Those of you who have already done this exercise with me a couple of days back are requested to kindly just observe, so that others can enjoy the activity. Has everyone joined? Please proceed towards the breakout rooms. Mr. Vikas Sharma. Mr. R. Subramanian. Sujata ma'am, Pooja, you can all go to one breakout room each and help them, maybe guide them. So that, you know, if there is someone who is not understanding, your presence will be helpful, Suresh. But don't say anything. Let them do the activity themselves. Suresh, you can go. Pooja ma'am.
So people are still joining in.
Okay, you let them, you assign them.
Yes. Joining the Zoom meet. So shall I move to the breakout room?
Only present, Suraj.
So how was the experience?
Excellent. It was awesome, sir. It was awesome. We collaborated and we exchanged the ideas.
Very good. So you had a lot of new perspectives.
As usual, wonderful it was.
As they rightly say, you know, as many heads, so many ideas.
Very well.
The number of ideas is equal to the number of heads present on the platform. And all of them are right. That is the beauty of it.
That's wonderful thing.
All you have to do is do something and tell them, okay, how is this related to that? Everybody will find out an answer for it. Okay, now let us start in room number 1.
Yeah, this is.
So who is going to present on behalf of room number 1? Do you want screen sharing or would
No.
you like to just speak?
Yeah, it is oral. I'll share it.
Okay, then
orally.
please unmute yourself. We would like to see you.
Okay, fine.
Yes, Mr. Jagannathan, tell me.
Sorry, I am under quarantine at home, not in proper shape. Okay.
Okay, you are in quarantine, still we are seeing you. That is a great thing. Come on, go ahead. You are in the best of shapes.
Yeah, thank you.
That is great. Great.
Natural vaccination is taking place.
Very good. Great.
Hats off.
The sharing came from many people in our team, and some of the main points are like it is holding back your belief. Like the tight wrist is holding back your belief, and it is holding back your movement also. The moment you let go, like you move out of the rigid phase into an understanding and relationship building phase. And one of our members said like a tight wrist also shows the kind of impact a story can create on the listener. And one more sharing was like the fist is the hero, which in turn makes a change in the mind, which is the villain. So all the stories which we tell is to reach the mind of the other person so that a change can be brought in the positive side in the minds of the listener. And all stories during storytelling, the important things are to connect, to communicate, to make a change, and to understand each other. And when the input is done in the correct manner, the output is perfect. Sometimes the output exceeds the input. And the important things are to get emotionally connected with the story and also to the audience. There has to be a good communication wavelength between the listener and the storyteller. And a change can be brought in the mind of the listener in less than a minute. And one of our members demonstrated by way of a story which happened in a real life. Thank you.
Great. So there was a storytelling happening within storytelling.
Yes.
Great, great. Who was that member who told the story?
Sujata.
Oh, Sujata ma'am. Okay, great. Wonderful.
So it's not I think there's
Okay, there's another Sujata. So we have got 2 Sujatas now on the platform. Great.
Pushpa, sir.
Sorry, Pushpa. Yeah. Sorry,
Acha,
Pushpa. Sorry.
Oh, Pushpa ma'am is a teacher.
Yes.
The right person to tell a story.
Yeah, she told a student in the exam hall, and he was able to perform beautifully well. There's a lot of change in the student after that 1 minute of story which she spoke to the
I
student.
strongly object to Pushpa ma'am's behavior because when I was a student, I didn't have any teacher coming and helping me. That goes to show, how much world has changed. Okay, beautiful insights. Wonderful. Now, incidentally, all these are right, huh, Jagannathan sir? All these are right.
Yes, sir.
And wish you a very speedy recovery.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let's move on to room number 2.
Yes, this is Shankar Vishwanath from Mumbai. I have taken the onus of
summarizing the viewpoints, what came through. Fist represents that, storytelling generally has a secret, a learning that has to happen from a story that we tell always. And you don't tell that in the beginning, you take the audience towards that. So holding the fist is that secret, and when you release it, that's when the audience starts getting it. The fist also represents determination, the holding of the emotions inside. And when you release, that's when the emotional connect happens with the audience. Holding fist also represents our thoughts, our goals, and then releasing it is we have achieved it. I have made it. I've been able to tell that story and connect with the audience. To tell a story requires a lot of guts and a lot of strength within. So that is the strength. The holding of the fist is the strength. And then releasing it is, again, the connection with the audience. The process is more inside out. So again, holding of the fist, it came through that it's all coming from within, and then you have to release it to the outer world. There's a lot of passion, hunger, discipline to hook the audience. All this is required. So all that is first garnered by the fist, and then you release it to the subconscious mind of the audience. Our strength, our uniqueness represents our fist. This is another thought which came through. Holding the fist could also be our ego. When we are telling story, the negative aspects of your fist means you need guts to tell even the negativities about your own self. Unless you change, nothing changes. So if you are somebody who's a person with closed fist, you're not going to be able to change the world. So open the fist, the change should come from you. First, commitment is to do something. So you commit to do something and then you release it. I have done it. It represents recalling of the memory, which means this is our memory. And then when you recall a story, your memory opens and the audience's minds open as well. Somebody said it could be like a shock and awe. I think Anil sir said that it's a shock and awe treatment. And finally, I think every story has some elements which we all have to bring together. And then when all those elements are released towards the audience, it has a phenomenal impact. So these were some of the points which came through in our group. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to present. I appreciate that. Gratitude.
Wonderful, wonderful insight.
Done. Well
wonderful
done.
insight.
Well done. Shankarji, very good.
Thank you, sir.
Superbly summed. Plus, the team has really gone to some depth to understand it. Now, let's go to team number 3.
Hello, sir. I think I was in team number 3. Mr. Vijay, sir, was leading the team. I think I'm Dr. Rama from Bangalore, Jain University. And 1 minute, sorry, am I here? Do I have time to just talk? I had some relatives and other people. I was
Just
just
a minute,
listening.
Dr. Rama. Dr. Rama,
1 minute.
are you the niece of Mr. Shyam Sundar?
Yes, very much.
Okay.
And God has given the opportunity today to listen to you all, and especially to Mr. Arun Subramaniam very eagerly. That is why I couldn't unmute myself. But if I'm given 2-3 minutes time, I would like to talk. In the break room, I could not open because there was too much disturbance.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah, I was in group number 3. May I do it first, or the team member who had collated everything can do it first?
What I suggest is the team member can give the team's perspective. Then, since you could not speak at that time, you follow with your perspective.
Okay, yeah, that is what I want to. Yes. So please, room number 3, team member lead team member, please continue. After that, give me 2 minutes. Thank you.
Definitely, I'll give you. Yeah.
I'm Dhanesh here.
Yeah, Mr. Ganesh.
I have been chosen to present this our views of the group.
Yeah.
Initially, we were not very clear as to what we meant by the fist. Then one of the members suggested his view. He said that he sees in the fist the determination and the confidence of a storyteller. The storyteller should be determined and should have the confidence to convey his story in such a way that the audience is able to understand and the story is conveyed to get the desired effect. It was followed by some other suggestions which was similar to that. I mean, the fist indicated the strength and the confidence of the storyteller again. Then the third perspective which came was the fist was to be held tightly and thereafter released. The perspective was that in a story, when you are telling a story, there should be some suspense. A suspense has to be built up in the story in such a way that the audience is curious to listen to the story and be anxious to know what happens next. If you are able to build in the story this kind of suspense, then you are considered to be a good storyteller. This was one of the way of thinking. Another gentleman said that he thought that the 5 fingers of the hand are just like the Panchabhutas. His way of communicating was, when the fist is made, the author owns the story. It is his story. And when he is holding the fist tight, it could be a subjective story. When he slowly releases and opens, it could also be an objective story. So the intention of the story, how the storytelling happens, how it is perceived, it all depends upon the storyteller and the audience. If you are able to connect well with this audience, then the storytelling act will be successful. There was another lady who came out with her thought. It is, she thought it as a metaphor wherein a river, when it bifurcates into tributaries. So the story, the gist of the story is there, and when it is spread, it spreads across to the audience, maximum audience. The intention of conveying a story basically is to, there should first be an intent as to why you are telling a story. If it is relevant to the audience concerned, then the story will definitely make an impact and get the desired result. And just like cooking, if the story has all the 5 ingredients, then it will be a good masala story and people will enjoy it and the results will be. This is what I could summate.
Thank you, Mr. Dhanesh. Thanks a lot. Yes, Ms. Rama, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity given. And the same thing I'm going to just come with, since I had been for 20 years into teaching. I'm so happy that storytelling, is so important. And I had been following that in the first session. For story focusing on how students have to focus, concentrate. That will be the story like Nicholas riding in a horse and Uranus. He saw a beautiful girl and everything, and finally he wanted to marry the girl. He just sent him into a jungle where he has to get a golden flower. This is a golden flower story, and he got it done. And the first question, as he was telling, it will create effect will be phenomenal. And like I used to ask, what would be the first question what Uranus has asked Nicholas? So that creativity is triggered. Students used to tell me all those answers, and then I would say there is no right or wrong answer, but the answer is this, like, how did you get it? So far nobody has achieved this golden flower. How did you get it? Because you have a lot of distractions in between. I'm a bit fast, I'm just giving the gist. And so a lot of diversions, that you have beautiful rivers, flowers, garden, everything. How did you manage to get this within the time? He said, in childhood, my father used to write for whatever I leave the home, it is written on my palm, and I used to check every 1 minute, and so that I won't get diverted, even if I'm diverted by nomads doing gymnastics on the road or whatever diverts me on the street. So this is the thing. So that habit makes a lot. That is what parents are trying, teachers are trying right from beginning, children. And you start with an assignment for 5 minutes and you get diverted in Google. Then we have to Google you. Where you are. So that is what happens, and you don't complete it. So I connected to the recent personality, attitudes of the children and all those things, and it becomes really interesting. I'm so happy what others, I just agree with all those people, what they said, and there were wonderful points in my group. I was listening, but I could not contribute because some disturbance here.
It's okay. Thank you for your perspective, Dr. Rama. Very valid perspective. Now let's move on to room number 4.
Yeah, can I share the screen, sir?
Oh, sure, sure. You have been given screen sharing rights.
So, good afternoon to all. So, on behalf of our group, I am just presenting this. Everybody, almost more than 50% people spoke out what they thought on the given task. So, one was that storytelling is like a tension reliever. We connect our own lives with other story. Stories are a good way to connect with others. Then there was one more thing. Everything fails, then stories tells. So stories are the best way to sell anything or connect with anyone, and that is how it was interpreted. Ramayana, when the story is told in a right way, then it can hold the audience undistracted. And for example, is Ramayana. So interesting stories are very good to connect with anyone. And story is like a good story is like a closed fist. Like that's what they want to tell. It holds the audience. The story holds the audience like we were holding the fist tightly. So stories hold the audience with main message like a closed fist. Then fist represents strong connection with audience. And so normally fist was connected with audience with most of the people. Then Mr. Dipesh told that stories are told to market some morals or something. Message from stories can be remembered for a longer time. Like we still remember the stories which we have heard in our childhood, like Hare and Tortoise and others, which gave a good moral. So story rightly told can give can be hold for longer term. Everyone holds some stories in them, like we closely hold the fist. The similar way, everyone is holding some stories within them, and we can relieve ourselves by telling those stories to others, or telling it in a better way to others, so that relief from that burden can be achieved. Then Vishnupriya ma'am told that stories can connect closely with students. So these were the points which were derived.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you. Is it Surajji who is talking?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Let's move on to room number 5. You see how many insights we are getting. Huh? We are understanding stories. Have we ever in any one afternoon in our entire life researched on stories so much?
No.
We just take the word story for granted. Today, you are getting so many insights and all of them are right. Yes, let us go on to, I would request everyone to mute their audio because, the background noise can disturb others. If you don't mind, please. Yes. Can we move on to room number 5, please?
Good evening, sir. Room number 5, Sujata Balaji representing. Now, the inputs that have come is, first of all, a closed fist is very, very impactful. That is what the result should be of a storytelling or a narrative. Second thing is, a closed fist contains something which arouses the curiosity of the listener. So it's like, what next comes to their mind? And I think that is one of the pointers of a good story narration. And these five fingers which we clench, making it a fist, I think they are the 5 elements of storytelling. And there are other impacts, like, it's a strongly held fist is a strong narrative. The strength of the narrative, definitely, it reaches out deeper to the listener. So with these inputs, I think this is the understanding we have of the clenched fist. And we feel that, yes, the more strong the fist is, the more strong the narrative is. The way oratorically it is narrated, it reaches out in a most impactful way. That is what we understand. And this is the story of the clenched fist from room number 5. Thank you.
So there was this that martial arts movie, The Clenched Fist, or something was there. But friends, let me tell you one thing. Sujata ma'am had the toughest job of the day. Do you know why? She knows what the answer is. She's a very close associate of mine, and she could not talk about it. You know, the toughest job is always on the person who knows but can't say. Okay,
Oh,
let's move on to
to-
room number 6. Thank you,
I went-
Sujata ma'am, for articulating what others said and holding back what the
Yeah.
answer is. Thank
I
you.
accommodated with them, sir.
Yeah, but funny part of it is, you know, that no one is wrong till now. I'm just waiting to pounce on that one person who is wrong, but I can't. Everyone is right. Yeah, let's move on to room number 6. Who is room number 6? Don't tell me the name of the room number 6 is silence.
I think they're only confusion over.
Hi.
Yes.
Dr. Muralidhar Rao.
Yes, Mr. Muralidhar.
Okay. Actually, we didn't choose anybody as a presenter, but I will take it openly. That's not an issue.
Please.
Yeah. The story should start with action. See, whatever the story we are going to deliver to our listeners, that should have all the contents full power packed. This should have a content that have a very good narration, that should have very good roles play, like hero, heroine, whatever it is, and it should be very smooth, and it should convey the message at the end of the day. So that story should open up step by step in a very systematic, pleasant way, so that it is very understandable and very easy to listener to grasp the things. It should be like case. It should be keep it short, and it should be very, very understandable to the person who is listening it. We are not supposed to use any tough jargons, all those things, so that listener will.
I think he's having a connectivity issue.
Yes.
Hi, this is Architect here from room number 6. Could you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please continue.
The insights should be like we should have the story in the format of frame by frame. It should have the correlation with one another things. It should not like go on like a boring topic. One should have the correlation with one another steps, and it should have the insights in that so much that it should be curious when one is listening or it's reading the story. And it should have the emotional connect, like it should not go through like we have to read it forcefully. It should have the impact like someone is reading, so it should have the correlation or it can relate so much so she could understand it better way. Because when we feel, when we connect, we most of human beings are very connected with emotions. So I guess the emotional part is very much needed in that.
Excellent. Now, what is the most predominant insight we get from all this? You see, there are 94 people on the platform, and each of them has a perspective which is different about the story. And all perspectives are right. It only shows that there is a story within each one of us struggling to get out and express itself to the world. There is a story within each one of us which is struggling to get out and express itself to the world. Now, what we will do is, we will do this exercise for one last time. You are going to do it with me. Hold your fist. Tight. What do you feel? What do you feel?
Feeling strong, sir.
You feel a tension in your hand?
You
There is a
feel
tension?
everything is under your control, like you will be able to control. Strong.
That's okay, but still, the feeling is
Yes, of course.
there is a tension in the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want it to be released, isn't it? There is a recoil
Yeah.
also. Why am I being made to hold it like this? Or leave it. Leave it. As you leave, what happens?
You relaxed.
The tension releases. The tension releases. Don't you feel good in your mind?
Comfort.
Don't you feel good? Let's see what this has to do with story. We have all consulted and collaborated. We saw that stories have 3 dimensions. One is the science behind stories. If you don't understand the science behind the story, you will not be able to build the story, because then it will not go and stick in the mind. Having built the story, you'll have to deliver the story in an impactful manner so that it creates a transformation that you want to see in your listener. How does this closed fist represent this 3-in-1 exercise? What did you do when you clenched the fist? You created a state of tension. This state of tension created an amount of puzzlement which made you start looking for answers in your mind. What could this be representing? But as you are holding the tight fist, there was a sense of recoil. You did not like it. Even though you are doing it, you would have been much better off if you had not done it. Then came the release. The release came with an insight. And where did this insight come? From the resolution of the problem. What are the resolution? The release of the tension of the resolution. And the insight came in the form of an engagement of your mind with that physical activity of clenching your fist. That means it created an interest in you. That physical activity created an interest which engaged you, and that totally took away your attention. Think, friends, as you are holding the fist and releasing it, your attention was totally on that activity. The mind had filtered every distraction away from it, and it was focused totally on the activity of the clenched fist releasing itself. This you will remember, because it is an example of what was intrinsically appealing about the whole thing called a story. This is what a story all about. You create a puzzlement that creates a recoil, which wants, the audience then wants the resolution of the puzzlement. The resolution of the puzzlement leads to an insight. This process engages the audience with the story and the storyteller by inciting their interest and totally garnering their attention. And this 6th point is what is as an example of a storytelling which is intrinsically appealing. Research in speech communication. Research in speech communication has shown that this is the way to move forward. Storytelling is a cognitive thing. It is a very, very powerful yet very simple thing, which for some people is very easy and some people find it extremely difficult. On one side, you have Jesus of Nazareth, who told fables throughout his life. And through his fables, he has created a following of 2.38 billion people worldwide, accounting to 31% of the 7.87 billion population in this world. Can you beat it? A man, just by telling fables, has created a following of 2.38 billion people out of the total 7.87. 31% of the world population believe him, trust him, depend on him, follow him because of the fables he told during his time. And on the other side, we have Valmiki, who wrote the Ramayana. And with the Ramayana, he has created a following of 1.61 billion people, approximately 15.16% of the world population. And the story goes that the poet wrote the Ramayana before and Ramayana happened afterwards. The story is that when Valmiki was a Daku in the jungle, Narada met him and told him to write the Ramayana. At that time, Valmiki is supposed to have told Narada, I don't even know anything about this Ramayana. At that time, Narada is supposed to have told, Kabhi ki kalpana hi sach banegi. That means the imagination of the poet will become reality. You write, he wrote, and that has become a reality. For all of us, we swear by Rama, we swear by Ramayana, we swear to follow the path of the Purushottam Ram. Storytelling at its best. So what is the cognition of storytelling? It is necessary to understand the secret of how the mind works through the brain to create cognition or awareness. It is only by understanding the base of cognition can we understand storytelling. The brain, as we all know, by one theory, is divided into the right brain and the left brain. Thanks to Roger Sperry. This is Roger Sperry, who was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1981 for his work on the right brain and the left brain. How did it happen? He studied brain functioning in a patient, in patients who had their corpus callosum, the bundle of nerve fibers which connects the right and the left brain, that was amputated because, surgically to treat refractory epilepsy. He studied those patients and found out that there is a deep connection and balance between the right and the left. So storytelling is totally dependent upon your ability to integrate, synchronize, and harmonize the functioning of the right and the left brain. The right brain is in charge of visual and spatial orientation and understanding, art, imagination. The left brain is logic, construction, analysis. The right brain is where the science of cognition lies, and you have to understand the science of cognition, because understanding a story is all about being able to see the story visually and understand it spatially. Because it is through visualization and a distribution of events in space that we tell a story. So if you are not going to occupy the right brain, you are going to be at a loss as to how to stick your story in the mind. And then comes the left brain. And where does the secret of the left brain lie? The secret of the left brain lies in your ability to construct and tell a story, because speech, analysis, construction lies here. Creating and delivering a story is a left brain activity. Understanding and appreciating the story is a right brain activity. So unless you are able to harmonize both the right and the left brain, friends, you are going to find it difficult to tell a story. This is the reason why most people are unable to tell a story effectively. Be it a business story, a social story, or a personal story. How many times it has happened that you are sitting with a group of friends? The discussion goes in a particular direction towards an event. You have a wonderful example within you, struggling to come out. You try, it falls flat. Why? Because the best of stories will not stick if the harmony between the right and the left brain is not there. Not just this. Further research in cognitive science in 1990, when functional magnetic resonance imaging came into this world, it has been found that there are 11 layers. There are 11 layers which, when peeled one by one, will take you to the core of communication called storytelling. At the end of the 11th layer, you will be an absolute master in the art and science of storytelling. No one will be immune to your persuasion when you tell the story by peeling the 11 layers one by one. Let us see, friend, what is the first layer? Layer number one. We think in story, which allows us to envision the future. That means entire brain, from the time life came from water to land, the brain has been focused on only one thing: how to keep you alive. Imagine how hostile that organism must have found life on earth when it came from water to land. Everything around it was alien, hostile. And the subconscious mind had only one job: how to keep him alive. The brain had only three functions: to keep you alive, to ensure that you feed properly, and to ensure that you procreate so that the species can move forward. And the most primary function was to keep you alive. If the main function of the brain is to keep you alive, how does it reflect in a story? From the very first sentence, the audience should want to know what next? What is going to come next? What's so interesting that I should give time to this person? Remember, friends, in the 1 second that has taken for you to read this sentence, 11 million bits of information has gone inside you. And of these 11 million bits of information, you are at most aware of 40 bits. And you can focus on the best of days on about 7 bits and on ordinary days about 5 bits. Then what is it that the brain does by which it ensures that you make sense of the world around you? It creates a story. It creates a story of what's happening around you, relates it to the past experiences, and then projects it into the future so that it will know what can happen next. That is how it acts. Antonio Damasio, whose picture you are seeing here, is a neuroscientist. He said that the problem of how to make all this wisdom understandable, transmissible, and enforceable in a word, or to how to make it stick, depends upon how good a story your mind can tell you. How good or how bad, how intelligent, how successful, how capable you are is all a function of how well your mind tells the story. For instance, if you go and read the history of the theory of relativity propounded by Einstein, he said that his search for the theory of relativity E is equal to mc square started when he was in class 8, when he imagined himself riding a beam of light on his bike. That is where the story began. So friends, simply put, the brain constantly seeks meaning from all the inputs thrown at it, yanks out what is important, and then starts working on it on a need-to-know basis. Even as you are sitting here, let's face it, we are all busy. Plus, most of us are plagued by that little voice within us which tells us, what the hell are you wasting your time on storytelling for? So unless the story makes a lot of sense to you, there is no sense in your sitting here and listening to it. What is it we are hoping for? That opening sentence in a story which will keep us stuck. That what is it is the what next. That is why, if you remember, most of the stories begin with the sentence, once upon a time. Now I'm going to again give you a 15-minute break. I'm going to send you into a breakout room. I want you to write a 10-sentence story where from beginning there is a what next in it. By experience, let us see whether we are capable of writing a story which tells us what next. Are you all game? Should we try it, friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That
sir.
will be exciting, sir. That will be exciting, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
You will write a story, just 10 sentences, and only one story per room, 6 rooms.
Okay.
And you should come back, write it down, just read it and leave it. And that should make an impact. I'm again creating 6 rooms. I've opened the rooms. I'm giving you 15 minutes. Go and write a story of 10 sentences where this what next will be done. Come on, friends. Let's see who does the best.
Sir, am I in the room, first room?
You are in the main room now.
Sir, how do I go to, sir, again, I just came out, logged out of that first room, sir, room number 1.
You have come out. Everybody has come out now to the main room.
Everybody has come out. Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So are we ready with the stories?
Yes, sir, we are ready.
Very good. So the stories contain what next? Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Right.
we'll start with room number 6. Yes, room number 6. Read out your story. Tell your story.
Mr. Anthony? He had noted it down.
Maybe network problem is disconnected. Possible.
Arun sir, could we come back because he represents the story? He has made note of it. Can we come back to room 6 later?
Okay. Room number 5, please.
Yeah. This is Usha, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
My story
Before
is
that,
about
everyone mute your video audio excepting the person who is speaking. I want the audios of every other person muted. Please. Please cooperate so that we can hear the story clearly. Yes.
Yeah. Actually, my story is about once a man visited a kingdom, and he bowed and respected the king, and he told that he is planning to start an university. So he came here to seek the financial assistance. By hearing this, the king laughed and he thought, "Are you going to start a university? This is my financial gift for you." Like that, and he threw his chapel on him. That man, actually, in his heart, he felt, why I didn't ask anything harmful. I just seek the financial assistance to start a university. Why the king is reacting like this? Like that, he felt 1 minute if he felt bad, but his aim is to start the university. He didn't say anything. He took the chapel and went outside. Later on, some murmuring sound and lot of noise came. So the king asked the minister to check what is happening outside. The minister went outside and came with a hurry and told that, "Oh king, just now a few minutes back you throw a chapel on one man, no? That man is auctioning your chapel outside." By hearing this, the king felt insulted. He told the minister and told him that to buy the chapel, whatever he is asking. So he gave some huge amount and brought the chapel. Later on, he asked that man. He asked the minister to bring that man. So the man came and asked why. The man came and bowed. "Thank you, King. Thank you for me. When you will throw another chapel?" Like that he asked. The king a minute shocked. Even after insulting, this man is asking again the another chapel, and he felt that what he did is wrong. So that he gave a lot of money to start the university. As like Mother Teresa, while Mother Teresa seek a man for the help, that man, he split a saliva. So she asked, "No, okay, this is for me. You please kindly give something for my dependent," no, like that. So the moral of the story is that insults are the stepping stone of the success. So we should not take into heart. So we should treat that as our motivation and move forward. So that that man name is Madan Mohan Malavika. The university is the Banaras University. What is that?
Thank you, madam. Thanks a lot. Yes, room number 4. Good story. Good story. I like it even more because I happen to be a student of BHU.
Hi,
Biasness. Biasness.
So it's true story.
Okay, now let's come to room number 4.
Hi, this is Architect Manya representing room number 4 story. Raj was walking around the street. He suddenly saw, he was to his surprise, he saw his eyes fell on a beautiful butterfly that was flying around. He wanted to catch that butterfly anyways. However, before he could move, he saw his manager coming near that butterfly. But he was waiting that what he is about to do the next. But to his surprise, he saw that he has a net to catch that butterfly. He hid himself behind that tree, and then the manager went near the butterfly to catch. But as he went near that butterfly, the butterfly flew on the next flower, and it started to drizzle. Suddenly, it became very dark. He opened his mobile and torchlight so that butterfly was attracted to that beautiful torchlight. That butterfly came onto his arm, to his palm. He was so happy suddenly. He heard some noise and he saw that I am watching that dream. And so this is like everyone is working in the corporate world. So everyone is like waiting that when my manager will call or something. So this is the story we all could listen. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good attempt, good attempt. Yeah, room number 3.
Hello.
Yes, Varmaji.
Sir, in our group, everybody was thinking about this story. But I said, let us talk about what you started once upon a time. So our story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a boy who wanted to become a good sports person. And looking at his own capabilities, he found that he can become a good runner. So he started practicing, trying to know his positive points, and then he tried to learn what makes a person successful runner, what type of energy he needs, what type of styles he needs, how he can go ahead and proceed further. So he was in a small village. There were not many people from whom he can get inspiration or help or guidance. When he moved to a bigger city, he found a coach who told him how to go about it. Then he needed the money. The coach helped him find a sponsor. Then he participated in school, college, state level, national level, and international level. And he was able to become the very good runner. And once he reached that stage where he felt that he has achieved his objective of becoming a good sports person, a good runner, he said, let me start sharing my ideas with other inspire other people who want to go ahead with their objective. So the moral is you have to know what you want to achieve, and then you can proceed further. Sir, Arun sir, this is my story in short.
Thank you, very good.
Spontaneous, not written.
Thank you, thanks a lot. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Very meaningful, very impactful. Yes, I think Mr. Anthony has come. Room number 6. Am I right?
Yes, sir, he has to represent our room.
Yes, Mr. Anthony Babu.
But the problem is, like, I didn't collect the points. I went, there was a sudden power outage. So I was snapped. So sorry, ma'am. Could someone take it forward? Sudha, ma'am?
Arun, sir, may I share a story?
Yeah, please.
Just a minute. A minute, sir. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Now this is, we have titled it The Guard to Grab a Story. It's like years ago, there was a hamlet where a village astrologer was there in that village, safeguarding the well-being of the people who lived there. One fine morning, one fine day, they cross paths. Then the fisherman says, "Oh, I dreamt something, Your Majesty." And then the astrologer looked at him and he gave a motivating reply. "You are going in for a big catch. Use this opportunity," advised that scholarly man. Now what next was in store? Let me reach the sea, the fisherman thought, as early as I can. And then he went to sleep. But he did not share it with his family because he wanted to bring in a surprise, which he never knew what it could have been. And that night, as any human instinct, sleep eluded him. He was tossing in his bed. Now, how did that whole night go? Unexplainable. And now next morning at dawn, he was at the shore, ready with his bait to start his fishing activity. But he sat there for some time observing because the sun wasn't yet up. Then his idle hand suddenly felt a bag of pebbles which reached his feet in that water. He groped inside the bag and started, picking out those pebbles and throwing them one by one into deeper waters. Because he had no fishing to do, there wasn't any sunlight. But once the sun rose, there was a different scenario. By that time, all the pebbles were thrown away. He had no count of them. Finally, the fisherman thought, let me throw the last pebble. But before he did that, he had some inkling, some intuition. He had a look at that pebble in his hand. And to his surprise, it was a precious stone. For a moment, he lost his breath thinking, were all those stones also precious ones? But what a timely action, something better than nothing. This opportunity would also have been lost if the fisherman would have been negligent and thrown away the pebble. That is that precious stone, the last one. So through this story, we have a message. Friends, always observe before you act and lose something precious. This is from room number 6, our story unfolded. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujata.
Beautiful,
Very good.
Beautiful.
Well done.
Very well done. Now we'll go to room number 2. Yes, room number 2, Surajji. Yes.
I am sharing the screen. Pushpa ma'am is reading the story. Pushpa ma'am, are you there?
I think, no, screen is not needed. It's okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I start the story?
Yes.
There are 2 people near my locality. One is Suresh and one is Ramesh. Suresh is a fitness coach and Ramesh, his student. He had joined him recently, but he attended his sessions only twice. Suresh, as usual, went for his usual jogging session at 5 a.m. He saw his student lying down on the beach. He's not attending his classes of late. Why? He doesn't know. He just went up to him. He saw him very depressed. He said, "Why are you not coming for my classes? Remember, you have paid fees." He said, "Sorry, sir, I don't want to attend any classes." Why? What happened? Go to school. Teachers are behind me. Homeworks, assignments, projects, blah, blah, blah. Go back home. Parents, relatives, neighbors are behind me. Why? What happened? Why are all behind you? I don't know, sir. My homeworks are not complete. They complain to my parents. Teachers complain to my parents. Again, parents shout at me. Okay, what about your parents and neighbors and relatives you were telling about? Yes, sir. Parents are behind me to join IIT. My relatives are behind me to join any NEET. Now, my neighbors feel that I am not capable. They say, you become an accountant, you'll get a good job, good salary. I have contacts. You can do many things. Now, what to do? No one is asking me what I want to do. Why is it so? I don't feel like living. If I can't do what I want to do, I too want to grow up. I too want to become something great. But nobody is letting me do what I want. Sir, I don't want to go home. I just want to jump here. Suresh, he could understand the emotions. What he did was he just said, don't worry, all are behind you. For which you don't like. Can you turn around the situation now so that people are behind you and want to emulate you? What can I do, sir? Okay. What you can do is early in the morning, start your day by telling yourself, the sun is up. Now you have lots of things to do. Manage your time. Work towards your goals. Slowly you will find people are supporting you. They want to see that you are doing something. So now, after a few days, Mr. Suresh, his fitness coach, met him on the same beach, at the same place. What a surprise. Ramesh was jogging along with him. Suresh asked him, now can you tell me what is the secret? In just few months, I am seeing you as a new person. Your face looks full of joy. You're cheerful. He said, thank you so much for the motivation, sir. You are the one who saw I have a lot of capabilities in me. This made me work towards my goal. And your motivation changed my life. Now, whenever I wake up, the first thing I tell is, oh, the sun is awake. I have lots to do. Let me work towards it. There are miles which I need to walk. Let me walk along the road. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Yes, now room number 1. Room number 1.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. My friends told me to just narrate a small story. I mean, we all decided and we came up with that. And I'm Rama here from room number 1, representing Kumar sir and so many others. Sorry, I could not recollect the name. And the story goes like this. A king or prince was on his horse, or a common man, he's on his horse one day. I ask the students and all of you to imagine that you are on the horse, just going around the village, the kingdom or the city, and you happen to see an old woman at the age of 80 plus. She's selling, living her own livelihood by earning herself by making vadas or idlis in the morning. And the way she serves, people say, what they talk about her is so humble and so homely food is served with a mother's through a mother's hand. Okay, so that is the thing. The emotions that she emotes and the kind of love she gives to her customers is like that. So this is what he collects from there, and he also tastes the food, and he happens to really witness the love from that old woman who lost her son some 5 years back, and she was all alone. Okay, and then he crossed, and you cross and you just come across a rich person. Maybe you can call him a landlord or jamindar, whatever, or a person like who is very rich in his business. Now in nowadays context, you can see him as a, having a mall, 2-3 malls across and everything, millionaire, but very dominating, very, sounding harsh to his servants and people around all the time. So that really, verbal abuse is also an abuse. That is also a torture. It is not only physical torture, is torture. So this person, or you happen to be there, you understand, observe all these things, okay? And the person understands all these things and he crosses. And finally, the question posed to the audience, when I narrate or when you narrate, anyone narrates, my team narrates, what we came across, how to narrate, and the points is, so what do you think about it? This verbal abuse is not a real torture or abuse, okay? Why should be? So it has so many in context, it spreads negative vibes and so many things. And all the most, from these two people, what did you learn? How to live and how not to live. And it is our choice to, so choices are ours. We have to understand from our surroundings, we can understand many things, and we can see people yelling for nothing and all those things. And even now, can you connect it to an advertisement which is recently shown on TV? Like when somebody hits your scooter or car and falls down, immediately Amir Khan will take up the laddu and say, Amma's laddu is not broken. That means insurance plays a role, and you can
Madam,
be cool
is it
with
a
that.
story you are telling or a discussion you are holding?
No, ma'am. No, sir. This is how the story goes. It is not a discussion. The story brings out all these points from the audience when it is
No, you
narrated.
just
Like
tell
as
the story. You leave the other things to the audience to decide. Just tell the story.
okay, so that is how it ends. So how to be is our choice. So how do you want to be? Choose from these two. The rich person also has lost his son in his life. So all of us have stress. All of us have ups and downs. How to live in a human way, humble way. And, that is in our hands. It is our choice. And I just asked my people, they have written one word phrases about the story, like they wanted to end it up. So I request Kumar Sami to start just one word they want to represent my group. That is it, sir. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, I think I'll just take the lecturer's homework. I'll have to listen to ma'am. So I would say at every stage of your life and journey, stay humble and be grounded.
It's okay. Thank you. See, we have to understand one thing. A story is something different. If you have to explain a story, then it is not a story. When you pick up a book and read it, does the book explain to you? When you go sit in a movie and watch a movie, does the director come and explain it to you? The power of the story is the story itself.
Okay.
Everyone has a story within them, but the biggest problem in being able to, madam, can you just mute yourself, Rama ma'am? The biggest problem of the story is that it has to stick. And you don't get an opportunity to explain it. That is why stories are so very difficult. When you tell a story, automatically the audience should be hooked. And they should live the story along with you. If you can't carry your audience along with you on the journey, then it is just a lot of words which you're using. As I was telling, we all have a story within us, but the biggest problem is how do we integrate the right brain and the left brain to be able to tell a story? There are 11 layers I was telling you. We have just seen the first layer. The first layer is the mind is focused on survival of the species. You can't help you survive if it doesn't know what is going to happen next. So unless a story has an element of what is going to happen next, you will not be able to take it forward. And in that what is going to happen next, there are various elements. Now, let us see one such story. I'm going to narrate a story to you. It will not be more than 10 sentences. It is the first chapter of my story. Hear it. The pain was coming 5 minutes apart now. And every time the pain came, Neela pressed herself against the car, shuddering, trying to somehow suppress that pain, biting her lips. And the car was speeding on the street as though a madman was driving it. Neela wanted to tell Moti to slow down, stop, otherwise he's going to crash the car. But Moti was not listening. Moti was hunched over the steering wheel, looking at the rearview mirror now and then and thinking, have I left it too long? Should I have listened to the doctor and admitted Neela in the nursing home yesterday evening itself so that this problem of delivery would not be happening? As he was thinking, suddenly there was a huge scream from Neela behind the seat. He turned round, saw her collapsing on the back seat, her eyes looking into vacant space, her mouth frozen in the screen. So, Moti, you can now very happily add the qualification of being a nursemaid or the sarcastic Calcutta. Surprises. It has continued to be so till today as I turned 65 years. Thank you. Was the story moving forward?
Yes. At some point in time, we lost your voice. So yes, it was moving forward, definitely. When, you can add your qualification where you started saying that after that, nothing was audible. So
Please repeat it.
It was not audible?
We are missing your voice.
Still it's stuck in.
What?
Even now you're frozen, sir. Your voice is not coming through.
Now is it coming?
Yes.
Now it's coming. Now it's coming.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
let me narrate the story once more.
Right.
Yeah.
Curiosity was created.
If you all can mute your video, maybe the bandwidth will not be a problem. All of you mute your video. The pain was coming once in 3 minutes now. As the pain came, Neela pressed herself against the back of the seat, clenched her teeth, pressed her feet to the floor. She wanted to shout out to Moti, slow down, stop the car. But Moti was in no mood to listen. He was hunched over the steering wheel, thinking, have I left it too late? Will I be able to reach the hospital in time to admit her so that she can deliver in safety? Should I have listened to the doctor when she said yesterday evening to admit her? As he was thinking this, there was a loud scream from the back of the seat. He turned around and looked. Neela had collapsed in the back seat, her eyes looking into vacant space and her mouth frozen in that scream. Dripping with sarcasm, Neela said, so Moti, now you can add the qualification of being a nursemaid to you. My father picked me up, looked me deep into my eyes. Amidst the cheer of the crowd on Dalhousie Square Street that night, 4th August 1957. From that moment on, my dear friends, my life has been a series of events of surprise and excitement as I touch 65 years today. Thank you. Do you see a movement forward?
Happy birthday.
No,
Wow,
just
wonderful.
just a story.
Happy birthday.
You see, a story should have an element of movement. You should not need to explain. See, from this story, it is very clear what is happening. My mother delivered me in a car on Calcutta, Dalhousie Square Street, as my father was driving her to the nursing home. You see, you create the story in such a way that it becomes very obvious. And this is where, you know, the page start flipping, the person start listening to you. Now let's go ahead and see the various aspects. What is the story about? The story, the story has got three elements to it in the first layer. Whose story is it? The unspoken question that bounces around in the audience's mind is, what is this story about? What's happening here? What's happening? And what is at stake? So you see, the story is about my birth. What's happening was my mother was being transported to the hospital, and what's at stake was the life of the mother and child because of a procrastinating father. That is what has happened. As the famous neuroscience psychiatrist Richard Starks writes, within the brain there is always an evaluation for a specific context. It is the context that bestows meaning, and it is the meaning that your brain is trying to make out. Please understand that. When you are listening to a story, your mind is in fact trying to relate it to your past experience, future possibilities, current real-time situation, and it is analyzing what should I do under the circumstances. It is an education which is going on. Whenever you listen to a story, you always try to relate it with what has happened in the past or what is possible to happen in the future. So obviously, my dear friends, the story should appeal to the language of experience. And what is the language of experience? The story should contain a plot. What happens is the plot. Number two, one person is the protagonist. That person should be very clearly visible in the story. The story should not wander around. Then that is rambling. That is not a story. And it will not make an impact. Number three, the goal is what is known as the story question. Why are you telling this story? What are you trying to convey? You know, many people said the moral of the story. The moral of the story is good in a children's book, but for an adult, the moral should be implicit. He should understand it himself. It should be very clear. Number three, how he or she changes. The story always has two journeys, an internal journey and an external journey. So what are the checklists that you have to create at the first layer? Remember, my dear friends, this is only the first layer. There are 10 more layers to go after this. The first layer, at the first layer, the story should answer the question, whose story is it? What is happening? Something has to happen. What's happening? Number three, there has to be a conflict. The conflict need not necessarily be between two people. The conflict could be the situation itself. Like in this case, the conflict was between having to reach the hospital in time and the pressure of the pains coming. Number three, what is at stake? At stake was my mother's life and the safe delivery of yours obediently. And all is not as it seems. It is not as it really seems. There is something at stake. Something else is happening. What is happening? A fight between a lady who is very determined and a man who keeps procrastinating. And how that is going to influence the child as it grows up. That's why the child says in the last sentence that my whole life has been eventful and exciting, caught between a determined mother, a furious mother, and a procrastinating father. And what is the big picture? How the child evolves, how the story evolves, what exactly happens, what is the holy grail, what is it going to achieve, and how it is going to change, transform the protagonist is what the story all about. This is followed by 10 more layers. We have just completed one layer. That is, we have understood one secret of the storytelling based upon one behavioral pattern of the brain. There are 10 more layers. And what does it do when you learn all these? You become a master at grabbing the attention of the people. With your storytelling ability, you will be able to grab the attention of anyone and everyone. Because of that, you will be able to ensure that the message sticks to the mind of the people you deliver it to. The biggest problem is the neocortex, the cortex, that is the conscious mind, cannot hold on to a message for more than 14 seconds. And if that has to be held on, it has to go beyond the conscious mind into the subconscious, only then it will stick. So you will be able to tell a good story, you'll be able to grab the attention and force the message into the subconscious where it will stick. This will ensure that you will be able to influence behavior and get action. You have to be able to send it right down to the subconscious, where at the right moment, it will be able to influence the behavior and get the correct action from the audience. That means you will be accepted as a leader who is transformative in nature, and you will be remembered for life by the people who come in touch with you. Friends, just watch this video to becoming how you can become enormously successful in life through storytelling and
had a group of, it was a 2-day conference. We had a group of amazing speakers, and I was actually the first speaker. I was first speaker in day 1. And after my presentation, I sat down, front row seat, kind of VIP sitting at the front, and I would just pay attention and take notes. And the second speaker came up on stage, and about halfway through his presentation, I stood up and walked towards the very back of the room. And people thought, is Dan leaving? Is he going back to his hotel room? Which could be the case, because I spent a lot of energy in the first segment, right, when it's during my speech. But that was not the case. I was actually walking towards the back to sign up for the speaker's education, because he had an offer that he was talking about. Now, no one moved. I was the first one to move. And the staff was asking me, well, Dan, you don't know what the offer is yet, right? I said, it doesn't matter, just here's my credit card, put in my credit card. He said, but you don't even know how much it is yet. You don't know, is it a workshop? Is it like a group of DVDs? What kind of package? Is it a book? You know what it is? I said, it doesn't matter, just put it on my credit card. And he did. After he finishes filling the form and everything, right? I walked back, sat down, front row seat, taking notes again. And I did the same thing for the third speaker, fourth speaker, and the rest of the speakers that day. I bought everybody's education. And at the end, one of the staff couldn't help. He said, Dan, I don't understand. Like, why are you investing and buying all these courses? Like, don't you teach into the marketing? I mean, you're an expert on this subject. I mean, look, I saw your presentation. I saw your screenshot. I mean, you make millions of dollars online. Like, why are you buying all these courses? I looked at him as a reply. I said, duh. How do you think I get to be successful? Because I invest in myself, right? I'm always investing in myself. I'm always looking for that edge. So how do you tell?
Friends, it is sensible to invest in yourself and become a master of the art of storytelling, because the world runs on stories. Today, colleges are teaching stories. Companies are creating storytellers. One question might be in your mind. all these 11 layers, can you master it and become a storyteller? Scare away your doubts. You can become a master storyteller and become successful, and you will become a master storyteller and become an excellent storyteller and successful. All that you need to do is join the master workshop, The Science Behind Storytelling. It is from the 1st of February to the 19th of February, every weekend, Saturdays 7 to 10 p.m., Sundays 10 to 1 p.m. That is every Saturday, 3 Saturdays from 7 to 10 p.m. in the evening, and 2 Sundays from 10 to 1 p.m. And the course fee is 7,500 rupees. All that you need to do is pay 500 rupees now and register, and pay the balance on 2nd of February. What do you get in return? Not only do you get to learn the science of storytelling, the science behind storytelling, all the 11 layers you get to understand and practice for 3 hours per day on these 5 days. You also get 3 months of free consultation to build your brand through storytelling. You get group learning. You get an effective template for implementation. The template will be given to you and you can implement it. The video recording of the entire course will be available to you. A certificate will be available, and you will be networking with like-minded people. Click on the link to register today. Program dates are 5th, 12th, and 19th of February, 7 to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 6th and 13th of February, 10 to 1 p.m. Steve Jobs was once asked, who is the most powerful person in the world? He said the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, agenda of an entire generation that is to come. Life is a story. What does yours say? I am putting the link in the chat window. Those of you who are interested can register by paying 500 rupees now, and the balance can be paid on 2nd of February. It will be a 5-day workshop, 3 hours each day, where we'll be discussing all the 11 layers of cognition, which goes towards making a story. Any questions? I'm open for questions. Anyone interested in joining can click on the link here. Alternately, they can write their WhatsApp number. I will send the link to them on WhatsApp. Is there any questions, please? I am getting a few numbers. Mr. Deshmani Panikar, Pushpaji, Sheikh Khaja Hussain, Mr. Vairamani. Any questions? Anyone has any questions? Ujjal Nath has put his number. Thank you, Mr. Kumaran Sampath. Yes, Mr. Khaja, I will send the link to 984-980-58003. Sure, I'll send it to you.
Any Paytm number?
You got a Google Pay number is there, 988-4483542. You want me to put it?
Can you repeat it?
98844.
Yes.
988-4483542.
542.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay Mankar, for registering.
My pleasure, sir.
Anil Goswami ji, thank you for registering, Anil ji.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you have registered. If anyone has any question, you can please ask. There is no issue. There is now no compulsion that you can ask only if you register. Nothing like that. You can ask any question you want. Mr. Viklesh Sharma has registered through Google Pay, right, Mr. Viklesh?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, I have received it. Thank you, Mr. Viklesh. You know, there is a group which has already been formed. I will be adding you to that group. From the earlier session, 21 people have already registered. I will be adding you to that group. We are already having some discussions going on there. You can be a part of that from tonight.
So please send your mobile number, sir.
My mobile number, who is it?
I am Sheikh Khaja Hussain.
Okay. My mobile 93840.
1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Nine 978-4097866.
Can you please repeat, sir, once again?
93840.
Okay.
97866.
Okay, sir. Okay.
I will send you the link, Mr. Sheikh.
Yes, sir.
The number you have given is your WhatsApp number, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It's mine. It is mine, sir.
Thank you. I'll send it to you. Don't worry.
Okay. Sir.
Yes, Mr. Sheikh. Tell me.
Yeah, nothing, sir. Please send the link. So can we leave the meeting now?
Yeah, you can leave. Everyone can leave. No issue. I'm just waiting if there are any questions or any registrations. The rest, others can very happily leave. No issue.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. It's so it is fantastic to listen to you, and it's a lively session, sir.
Thank you. Okay, then we will break for the day.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Relate to you all. Stay safe.